What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Taco Talk. Today we are joined by none other than San Antonio foodie and socialite, Alex Serna.
Hi.
How you doing?
What's going on, man? How you doing, brother?
Doing good, doing good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you could join us today, man. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, man. I'm so excited. I want to dig in.
Yes,
I'm so hungry.
I mean, go for it. We got some potato and egg. We got some bean
yeah, here we
tacos.
go.
Take your pick, whatever you want.
Super excited to get this potato and egg right here.
Gotta go for this
Oh, man.
right here.
We're gonna add a little salsita.
So,
man.
while we get started, what's your go-to taco order?
Oh, I personally love a potato and chorizo and a ham and egg, man.
Ooh, okay.
Those are the two that I can. And of course, you can't forget the carne guisada with cheese.
Awesome.
Excellent
Now,
stuff.
let's say that those two taco orders are just like, they ran out. Was something like that? What's your next backup go-to order?
Oh, chopped bacon and egg.
Ooh.
Very specific, chopped bacon.
Chopped bacon.
That whole
okay.
strip bacon,
Yeah,
bro. Nah,
put it in.
yeah.
I feel like strip bacon only goes good in like a really, really good bean and cheese taco, I feel like. But other than that, you're right. Strip bacon, chopped up bacon, that's the go-to.
Mixes with the egg, brother.
Yes, yes, that's the perfect way to do it. All right, so you were born and raised in McAllen, Texas. What was that like growing up for you, and when did you make the move to San Antonio?
So I loved growing up in the valley. It was home, man. It was very, back then in the late 80s, early 90s, it was just a small, surrounded cornfields, a lot of farming. I grew up in a neighborhood where it was like a newer neighborhood. So, every house, parents, 3 or 4 kids. You see movies like The Sandlot, where you have all these like neighborhood kids and all that. I grew up in a neighborhood with like 30. So it was amazing to grow up and, there was even like little groups, I'm gonna use the word, I'm not gonna use the word gangs, but like little groups of us, like this side of the neighborhood fought with that side, etc. It was a lot of fun, man. I grew up and had the idealistic childhood.
What's the food scene like over there? Is there like a standout restaurant that you remember from your childhood?
Oh, so, growing up there was a restaurant that, it was the top tier elite, Mexican restaurant or Tex-Mex if you want to call it. It was called La Casa del Taco. It was where, I believe it was, I can't remember whether it was President Clinton or President Bush went, when they had gone to the valley on the rare occasion. And I think they were eating a tamale and they bit into it. And then the waitress kind of helped them unwrap the tamale. It was valley news forever. It was so embarrassing. But, they obviously took them there because it was like the elite of the elite.
Right.
You had your special occasions there, your quinceañeras, your big parties there. It was amazing, man. Unfortunately, COVID, did a number on it, but it was basically the place to be at.
Awesome. Now, fast forward, when did you make the jump to moving to San Antonio, and what kind of went into that? Thought process?
Definitely. At 17 years old, graduated high school, and unfortunately in the valley there wasn't a lot of educational opportunity at the time. The valley is roughly the size of San Antonio in comparison to numbers, but we only have one college, or technically 2 colleges, and 2 colleges, 2 universities for the amount of folks. So I wanted to head north and educate myself.
You've been working for the last 5 years, San Antonio Munchies. What are some of the biggest struggles that you go through when it comes to running the page on the back end and things like that?
Well, one of the biggest ones currently is having to deal with the struggle of the hatred towards bloggers, content creators, and influencers, the term overall. I will say very fairly that reputation is sadly warranted with some of the behavior that I've seen over the course of several years. Personally, I hate the term influencer just because I feel it has such a negative connotation today. It means, all you want is everything for free. You want people to roll out the red carpet for you. Who do you think you are? You're not famous. And unfortunately, there is people currently, even in today's San Antonio creator scene, that have done irreparable harm to the overall reputation of not even just, food bloggers, the fashion bloggers, the lifestyle bloggers, the mom bloggers, all the different communities that encompass it. All it takes is one person to basically ruin it for all of us. And unfortunately, in a city our size, there's several people who would not be the best representation or examples of that, and so having to deal with that struggle alone, is very, very, sometimes when you comment, or you're trying to do good, you're trying to be positive, and then all it is this, oh yeah, shut up, you guys are so full of crap, you're ruining it, stop talking about our mom and pop shops, you're nobody, you're not even from this community. It's just it's a constant struggle every day, and I know that I'm not the only creator who deals with that. You know, it's always, no matter what good you're doing or what positive energy you're trying to put out, there's always going to be someone who says something.
It goes to the fact that, you know, they will never say those things to you in real life.
Oh, absolutely.
They will
not.
say them behind a screen, behind the protection of it, and then when they see you, oh, hi.
Exactly, of course.
And that's just how they operate.
Of course.
But
no, I'm down, bro. Like, you know, I mean, people say, oh, you're a food blogger, you're really nice, and then, no. Like, mind you, I'm 40 years old. I was pretty psychopathic in my early 20s, and I had quite a reputation.
We've been there.
Yeah, so it's always funny if people are like, oh, you're so nice. I'm like, oh, you don't know the devil in the flesh I used to be, you know. Like, trust me, I would not be pried away from the bars at one time. I was always at Peleonero. You know, I was at one time, you know, and of course now we have to be professional and maintain ourselves, of course, for business, purposes. We can't get caught fighting at a bar or being stupid, on the streets of North St. Mary's or something. But this just comes to show, man. Yes, I agree. There's those same folks that are saying whatever they want online. If you ran into them, they're going to smile at you, shake your hand. Oh man, I love your work. But behind the scenes, oh, whatever, fat ass. It's amusing, Brian.
Absolutely. So on the flip side of that, what are some of the positive things that you've seen, running the page for the last 5 years and going through all of that?
Oh man. Well, most importantly, there's a lot of businesses that we come across, man, especially the old school folks who believe in, the whole if we build it, they will come mentality. They're not used to social media. They don't understand social media. And every now and then someone walks in with a platform, whether it be me or several other, very reputable food bloggers in town, and say, hey man, let me do a video. Whether that's a prearranged agreement or whether they're just people, hey, you know what, I want to go have lunch and I like the aesthetics of this place, let me do a video. And sometimes that one video can change the course of their entire restaurant. On a personal note, there was a client of mine that I do work with, China Express, off of 90 and Barrera Parkway. Very nice people, wonderful people. They're Cambodians, old school story. They came here during the horrible reign of Pol Pot. Horrible, background story. But they came, they worked their butts off to build their legacy here. And they first went to Chicago, I believe, came to San Antonio, built their restaurants. I walked in there one day, and let me tell you something, Nate. Never once have I ever gone into a restaurant and looked a business owner in the face and said, hey, I hope you have enough workers next week. I don't know what it was about this one spot, but when I went there and I literally, I was not even supposed to be in that part of town. But I just stopped in there for lunch real quick, and I got, the 2-meat plate, the teriyaki, mall Chinese food, barrio Chinese food, got rice, 2-meat plate, in a paper, to-go tray. And sat down, I think total was maybe $10. One of the cashiers, she knew me from social media, so I guess she went and whispered to the owner that was there, hey, so the owner comes up and she's like, hey, are you on YouTube or something like that? So, I do have a YouTube, but, I'm more on Instagram. Okay, well, I'll be right back. She comes and she brings me a boba, like a yellow boba. It was like a pineapple or mango, something like that. Like, oh, that's fine. I finished my meal. It was delicious. And I don't know what it was, but I literally looked right at her and I said, I really hope that you have enough staff next week. And she's like, oh, I hope so. She's just kind of very like, okay, yeah, sure. Knock yourself out. A week later, I get an email. And I believe it was the manager from them. Oh my God, Andy and Chris, they want to talk to you. Please, stop by. And it would just so happen, because of, the reputation of managing, social media, all of my buddies, once I got control of the restaurant, social media, we worked out an agreement. They were so happy, saw phenomenal success. All the bloggers went one by one. And then I believe it got the attention of Ryan Wolf. He went out there, did a video. So another big popular blogger named, I believe his name is Life of Sean.
Okay, yeah.
He went out there on his own. So it just one by one. And I remember he told me, hey, you've been working 16-hour days, relax. And so these are individuals who had never been exposed to social media, nothing like that at all. And then all of a sudden, someone walks in, I literally tell them, I hope you're ready. And to this day, I manage their accounts. So to bring it all back, one of the things that it's important is, you go to these restaurants that are not social media friendly, or they're not aware of what social media can do, and you can change the course of their restaurant, literally by doing a post, by posting a photo, by doing a video. And I think that right there is so awesome. Social media is there for people to use, utilize it. I just think it's the lack of awareness. But I've seen a lot of positive things happen for restaurant folks in San Antonio, business owners, chefs, because of social media.
It's beautiful. It's an amazing story. What's that like for you? Kind of just, finding these businesses, these restaurants that you, personally love, that you, get into, and, what do you see behind the closed doors that some people don't see?
I think that, I took the fray into the restaurant side of the business with Beautiful Belly. It was a late night Chinese concept, and I did ownership for a while. I got to see behind the scenes what happens in a restaurant, the struggles, the food costs, the staffing issues that they go through. And I feel like it made me appreciate a lot more restaurants. And hey man, if a restaurant has a bad day, or if they have an off day, or if your order isn't to your liking this one time that you've been going to this restaurant 20 years and they disappoint you, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. I feel like it made me a lot more patient, a lot more understanding. And I really wish that a lot of the citizens of San Antonio that, love to frequent, they call themselves foodies, they love to go out to restaurants and eat and fine dine and, frequent different restaurants. I wish that they could see that part of it, because I feel like there'd be so much more understanding when it came to a restaurant not meeting your needs one time, and I know that I stand by this. McDonald's can mess up your restaurant, your order. McDonald's restaurant can mess up your order 20 times and you'll still go back. A mom and pop shop messes up once and you are done. You're never gonna go back there again. And that's unfortunate.
Right. And do you feel like a lot of just the negativity aspect from social media, wanting to, go to the review section, the comment section really quick, you think that plays a part into it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that, online social media has empowered people to say things, to be mean, to be malicious. And hey, I'm all for, a restaurant, making a restaurant aware, ownership aware of changes that need to be done, to better themselves. Hey, more power to you. However, there are different ways to go about it, and I know that one of the things that I get attacked a lot for, and a lot of, big accounts, in the food scene, is we're always talking about positive, always talking about how amazing, a place is, our amazing reviews, how good this spot is. And, we never talk about the negative. Why don't we say ugly things, or why don't we say the truth? Oh, that's a big one. Why don't we speak the truth?
Right.
The difference between that is I have a platform and I could really hurt somebody. If I post something, if I go online and I trash a restaurant because they didn't get my carne guisada with cheese right, or because they didn't bring my drink fast enough, and I go online, I have the ability to really hurt them financially. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be the reason why a restaurant owner has to cut staff's hours and then they can't pay their bills, or they can't buy their kids back to school clothes because my lunch wasn't satisfying this one time. That is a difference that I really wish a lot of people understood why, and that's not to say, Nate, that I don't have bad experiences.
Yeah.
Trust me, I go to 3-4 restaurants a day. Trust me, not everything I eat is wonderful. Not everything I eat is delicious. I just choose to focus on the good. I think that regardless of any restaurant that you walk into, you can find something positive about them. The restaurant is clean, the AC is awesome, the service was impeccable. Maybe the food wasn't up to par this one time, but you can always find something positive.
Right. Well, I mean, just kind of full swing, wrapping up as we finish our tacos. What's coming down the pipeline for you? What are you excited about? What's the rest of the year look like for Alex, for San Antonio Munchies? Walk us through it, run us through it.
So, this summer has been very lucrative. It has been opened up a lot of different opportunities for me. I will say this, I am just happy and blessed that, the work is there, it's consistent. There is a couple of little investing opportunities that have been brought to my attention. I'm definitely looking into heavily. I am not afraid to invest in a food truck, in a restaurant, in a chef that has a vision, has a goal, has beliefs. I've done it before. You learn from your experiences. Some people, they go back and they say, "Oh man, you did that concept, but it failed." I was, "Oh no. I learned a lot."
Right.
I was all like, and that education right there from that is definitely something that can make you and set you up, for success in the future. So there's definitely a lot in the pipeline coming up. I'm super excited. Yeah, and we just want to keep moving forward, brother.
Sweet, that's beautiful. Well, there you go. This has been our latest episode of Taco Talk with Alex Serna. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.